Assalamualaikum. My name is Anis Hazwani binti Muhammad Azhar and my matrix number is 2022798439. And I will be present about company background and management approach. A2FR Berhad is one of public listed company on the main market of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad. A2FR has 6 core business division, which is plantation, property investment and development, credit financing, automotive, trading and building materials. Every company has their own spirit to make their company go further, which we known as vision and mission. The vision that A2FR Berhad use is taste it, remember it and choice it. While on their mission, there are a few mission that they use, which is, the first one is, the A2FR provide the quality products and excellent service that make them different from others. Second, to achieve sustainable growth and returns for our shareholder over the long term. The third one is to be the employer of choice, and the last one is to be a good corporate citizen in harmony with the environment and the communities we serve. A2FR Berhad was incorporated on 24th March 1990 and known as the East Asian Company Malaysian Berhad. On 2nd August 1991, the company changed their name to A2FR Berhad and has been listed on KL Stock Exchange. For almost 33 years established in the industry, A2FR Berhad has been achieved a lot of achievement. One of it was on 2018, A2FR Berhad was recognized by the H Billion Ringgit Club Corporate 2018, which is under the category industrial product and services for the highest return or equity over the 3 years. Next, I will continue in management approach. In the segment reporting, they have 3 items that company looking for. The first one is factor to be considered having a segment. Second, types of segment, and last but not least, identify the shift of decision making (CODM) and its responsibilities. According to MFRS 8, there are few factors to consider having a segment reporting. The factor that an entity should consider to have a segment reporting is the type of entity. Only the public company comply with the segment reporting, while the private company do not comply with the MFRS 8. Other factor that should be considered is that a company whose debt security or equity are public traded or in a process of issuing security to the complies with the MFRS 8. If the company voluntarily provide the segmental information, then the company should have a segment reporting. Other than that, a company should have a segment reporting when it present its own and consolidated financial statement and has to present information on its reportable segment only on the basis of the consolidated financial statement. Next, type of segment. A segment can be divided into 2 types segment, which are operating segment and geographic segment. For our company, we use operating segment. There are 6 types of business activities that I already tell you in the company background, which is plantation, property, credit financing, automotive, trading and building materials. Last but not least, identify the chief operating decision and its responsibility. The term chief operating decision maker is only identify the function, not a person with a specific title. The function of CODM is to allocate resources to and assess the performance of the operating segment of an entity. Really, the chief operating decision maker of the entity is its chief executive officer or chief operating officer. But if there is a group of executive director, then the chief decision maker is one of the executive director. Generally, an operating segment has a segment manager who is directly accountable to maintain a regular contact with the chief operating decision maker. And normally they discuss about the operating activity, financial result, forecast or plans for the segment. The segment manager also same with the CODM at first, whereas there is function identified as function, not a title of a name, a specific name. And the chief operating decision maker also may be the segment manager for some operating segment. In some entities, some managers are responsible for different product or service line, whereas other managers are responsible for a specific geographical areas. And the chief operating decision maker regularly review the operating result for both of components, and financial information is available for both. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum Madam. My name is Nurhamindi Muhammad Cerasdan. My matric number is 2022977943 and I would like to present about how to identify the reportable segment. There are three bases to identify the reportable segment. First is revenue basis. Its reported revenue included both sales to external customer and inter-segment sales or transfer is 10% or more of the combined revenue, internal and external of all operating segment. Second is result or profit basis. The absolute amount of each reported profit or loss is 10% or more of the greater in the absolute amount. First is the combined reported profit of all operating segment that did not report a loss, and the second is the combined reported loss of all operating segment that report a loss. And the third is asset basis. The segment asset are 10% or more the combined asset of all operating segments. As a result, our company will choose a revenue basis to identify the reportable segment. Next, our company has 6 operating segments which are plantation, property, credit financing, automotive, trading and building material. After made a 10% threshold test, there are 4 operating segments that being a reportable segment and the rest was a non-reportable segment. According to the table above, we notice that plantation, property, automotive and trading are qualified as a reportable segment since the segment have exceeded the 10% of threshold test. The next test is 75% of threshold test. The total of combination external revenue which is attributable to the reportable segment deriving from the 10% of threshold test should be at least of A2FR Berhad total external revenue. However, if the 75% of threshold test is not met, an additional reportable segment need to be identified until it has met at least 75% of the entity's total external revenue is included in the reportable segment. After made the calculation, the amount is more than 75% which is at 88.03%. Therefore, an additional reportable segment will not be identified. This is new hour segmental reporting. The total revenue for A2FR Berhad is 6,274,499 ringgit and the operating segment profit is 1,652,397 ringgit, and for the profit for the year is 1,060,920 ringgit after deducting with tax expenses. For the asset is RM 15,980,300 ringgit and the total liability is 5,320,146 ringgit. There are a few advantages of preparing a segment reporting. First, it could give a better understanding in a financial statement. Second, it helps the organization in better decision making as the planning about the expansion or the diversification is to be done based on result of the segment reporting. Third is it helps the shareholder to decide whether to hold or sell their share. And lastly, it helps the potential investor to make a better investment decision making whether to invest or not in the investment portfolio. However, there is a few disadvantages from preparing a segmental reporting. First, there are many disclosures required in the case of segmental reporting. Hence, it is time consuming to prepare the report. Second, the data presented in the segmental report can be misinterpreted by the investor or creditors as the basis of preparing the report is different for each organization. And lastly, the base of the segment is also different as some organization divided the segment based on the geographical location and some organization might divide the segment based on the business activities.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Faizah Halimiti Musin. My ID number is 2022910241. I will continue this presentation in Part B, Interim Report. The basis preparation of interim report has two methods. The first method is integral method, which each reporting period is considered as integral part and parcel of the annual reporting period. In this method, the interim report is a fraction of the annual period. So, the annual values will be multiplied by the fraction of the reporting period. Next method is discrete method, in which each interim period is considered as a distinct from the annual cycle. In this method, the interim report is a separate period and the reports are prepared on a periodic basis. Based on the company that we choose, Hubson Consolidated Berhad uses discrete method as a basis preparation of interim report. There are two accounting policies that is used in the interim report. MFRS 3 is a business combination that outlines the accounting when the acquirer obtains control of a business. The business combination are accounted using the acquisition method, which require asset required and liabilities incurred to be measured at fair value. Next is MFRS 120 Government Grant, where the government provides assistance to the company in the form of benefits that are available in determining taxable income or are determined or limited on the basis of income. There are three types of interim reports prepared by the company. First is quarterly, which issue 4 times a year. Next, bi-monthly, issued 6 times a year. Lastly, semi-annually, which is issued twice a year. Hubson Consolidated Berhad used quarterly report in preparing the interim report.
Assalamualaikum and hi madam. My name is FAR570 binti Razali. My metric number is 2022909969 and I would like to present about the next part. Let's move to the advantage of interim report. First, it helps to determine the company's current performance and the investor can make further evaluation based on the performance. Second, it strengthens internal control in the operation and management. Third, to give oversight of the business activities and function of the stakeholders. However, for the disadvantage of interim report is function and quality of the financial reporting cannot be compared with the annual disclosure. And interim financial statement may neglect the estimate for non-performing asset write-off, accrued expenses, yearly management bonuses, or income. Third, unlike annual financial reporting, interim financial reporting is usually unaudited and presented in the condensed form. Next, period for the current and comparative of each statement prepared by the company. First, we look at the statement profit or loss. For the current interim report, the period is from 1 October until 31st December. The period for the comparative interim is the same with the current period, which is 1 October until 31st December. Next, statement of financial position. As we can see, the current interim report period is from 1 October until 31st December. Also, for the comparative interim, the period is from 1 October until 31st December. Third, we look at the statement of changes in equity. The period for the current interim is from 1 October until 31st December. For the comparative interim period, from 1 October until 31st December. Last is statement of cash flow. This statement also same with other statement period, which is the current interim report from 1 October until 31st December. And also same with the comparative interim report period from 1 October until 31st December. Next slide is proposed an adjustment. In this slide, we can see two items for an adjustment, which is inventories and account receivable. For the inventories part, if the cost of inventory is 1,90,159,471 ringgit, while the net realizable value is 1,099,101 ringgit, the values of inventory is lower of cost and net realizable value, meaning that for the adjustment, the value of inventories at 31st December is 1,099,101 ringgit. We continue for account receivable. If the gross amount is 1,710,189 ringgit, while the estimation of collection rate is 70%, the next amount should be reported is gross amount of account times with the estimation collection rate. So, the amount for account receivable after the adjustment is 1,197,132 ringgit and 30 cents. As we can see, after the result of an adjustment, this is the extract of statement of financial position for the year ended 31st December 2022. For Hubsan Consolidated Berhad, the amount before and after are different based on the adjustment. Thank you.
Question number 1. What happens if a segment does not meet the 10% threshold criteria? If the segment does not meet the criteria, it is considered as non-reportable, but it may consider reportable and separately disclosed if the company thinks that the segment information would be useful to the financial statements users. Question number 2. What are the reasons of interim reporting? First reason is to provide an overview of the company financial statement before the end of the financial reporting cycle. This will help to increase the communication between the public and the business. Next reason is to show the progress of the company's financial performance within a specific period of time for investors and analysts.